So, Dad passed in February of 2024, and it felt very appropriate for Kyle, Josh, and I to put in for elk tags to an area up west of Craig, Colorado, that I took Dad elk hunting twice over 20 years ago. He came out while I was stationed at Fort Carson, and then a second time while I was stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, a couple of years later. And both times we went out to Area 3 and 301 and spent a week together elk hunting. And the first time we couldn't buy an elk. First hunt, we had hunted and really didn't see anything. And then the last morning, Dad and I walked up and we're standing at the top of a notch, and we had cow tags, and all of a sudden we hear a shot up on the rim, and the guy had walked the rim, started shooting, and kicked a group of elk right down to us. Now this was right after it started snowing, and Dad and I had just agreed that we were about to leave because we were worried about getting snowed in and not being able to get out. And he had to go to work, and I had to be back on post signing off leave. And that guy kicked up a group of elk, and it ran right down the notch we were standing in. And Dad shot a cow elk and dropped it, and then the work began.
I still remember going out with my grandpa to hunt my first deer. It was back in 2014. I believe it was over Christmas break, and it was the last day of the hunt because I was discouraged that we didn't see anything the entire hunt. And of course, he notices that, and he hands me a rope, and he's like, just practice some knots until the deer come out. I'll let you know. So some time passes, and he taps me on the shoulder, and it's like, hey Kyle, there's 2 does coming in. So I look up, I see them, and mind you, at this point, my heart's racing. And I pick one, I get lined up on it, and I'm at that awkward height at the time where I can't stand up to shoot out the window, and I can't sit down to shoot out the window. So I got like 1 foot in the chair, and I'm all crouched over, obviously shaking a lot because that is a very weird position to hold for any amount of time. And I squeeze the trigger, and the deer drops. So we go over to it, and he's like, Kyle, did you intend to shoot that deer in the neck? I said, no sir, I was aiming behind the shoulder. I was just shaking it so much I probably ended up just hitting it in the neck. He he never quit giving me grief about that one.
Alright, hunting stories with Grandpa. I only have one, and that was when I was about 10 years old, and a friend of his had some hunting land for a club, and he let Grandpa and I come out and sit, I guess. And so Grandpa and I were in a blind, separate from the other guy. He was off doing his own thing, and we were walking in, and saw the guy's water bottle fall out of his pocket. And I didn't say anything because I was very shy, and I left it there. So Grandpa and I get to our blind, we sit down for a little bit. Grandpa's reading a book. The doe comes out, very excited. And I'm like, Grandpa, can I shoot it? Can I shoot it? Can I shoot it? And he's like, no, let's wait for a buck to come out. Let's see if the buck comes out. And so we waited a couple minutes, and I was still excited, and I was shaking, as 10-year-olds do. And I was cold, so I was shaking a lot. And Grandpa said, all right, you can go ahead and shoot it, I guess. And so I did, but I missed. I got shot it, and so we saw some blood. Then we waited a couple minutes, and I guess we found the blood after we went out and looked for it. And I'm still looking around at blood, and Grandpa walks off in the trees, and he found the deer under a tree, and he yelled for me to come shoot it instead of just putting it down himself or just letting it bleed out. And I got up and ran off up a hill, and so Grandpa and I walk up that hill for an hour or two. It gets cold and it gets dark, and we're hiking up this hill, and Grandpa starts having trouble breathing. I'm like, you okay? He's like, I gotta sit down for a minute. I thought Grandpa was gonna have a heart attack. walking up that hill. He's sitting down on a log, wearing alone in the middle of nowhere. He's gonna have a heart attack. Thankfully, he didn't. Anyway, we walked up to a road, and the other guy picked us up. And he's like, "Man, I had a bunch of deer in front of me, and I was about to squeeze the trigger, but I didn't have my water. I guess it fell out of my pocket, and I was trying to work up just enough spit, enough saliva to be able to swallow, so I'd be more comfortable before I shot. And then I hear a gunshot right as I'm squeezing the trigger, and all my deer run off. And basically I cost the other guy a deer, and got a shot in mine. It's all right. Then we went back to Mr. Hardwick. It was Hardwick. Hardwick's house, and we had some stew. I don't remember what it was called. We ate dinner with Mr. Hardwick. That was that.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Insane Outdoors TV. In this episode, we're going on the Grandpa Duggar Memorial Elk Hunt. So, unfortunately, we ended up losing Grandpa Duggar earlier this year, and we figured what better way to remember him than to go out to one of the places where him and my dad used to go elk hunting and see what we can get into. What makes it really cool is both me and my brother were both passed rifles by him, and we're bringing those on this elk hunt. But stick with us, this is going to be a fun video. It's good, everyone. Today we're going to start preparing for the elk hunt, and what better way to do that than to stop by the NRA Whittington Center. So we're going to go over to the range here in a minute. We're going to go zero the rifles, make sure we're all good. Alright, now that the rifles are all sighted in, it's time to continue our trip back to northwestern Colorado. We made it to the location we're going to be hunting and decided we're going to use the opportunity to scout. And what better way to start it than by seeing some mule deer? And to add on to the excitement, we see an elk, and it's still just a scouting day.
Jackalope.
I want to see you fight this thing.
You put embarrassing swings in there?
That's what makes it more fun.
I swear I will kill you.
I'm already dead. Oh, there you go. We got camp set up, so here's what we're thinking we're going to do in the morning. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go right over that ridge right there, sit on the back side of it, see if we have anything coming in front of me. We're going to have one of us, probably my brother, he's going to go over that ridge right there, same thing, see if anything comes in, and Dad's going to go over that one, and yeah, all goes well. Hopefully some of us see elk. We don't see anything by 10, we'll link up back at camp and see what happens, but catch you guys in the morning. Morning everyone, it is currently 7 a.m. I'm sitting on the back of this mountain. Day 1 ends without any excitement, but we get into day 2 and we find some speed goats, or pronghorns if you're boring.
Yeah, it is.
You should hit it.
If he turns and charges my truck. There he goes. Hey, back.
Wait, you're going the wrong way. Morning, everyone. It is November 24th. It's the last day of the season. We're out here. We're set up beside the mountain. We're watching that little bull down there. So, hopefully, we got some snow this morning. Hopefully that pushes them to us. But apparently this area got hit really hard by the die-off back in 2022-ish. And that's why we really aren't seeing much. I saw something yesterday. It might have been a cow elk, but it also might have been a mule deer. Disappeared before I could get glass on it. We also saw a coyote, which I was going to shoot, but then he disappeared down the slope before I could. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Since we were in Colorado anyways, we figured we'd go ahead and stop by the Garden of the Gods and play tourist for a little bit. Alright everyone, we're back in Texas now. Unfortunately, we didn't end up getting anything. We ran into a game warden either on day 1 or day 2. I don't remember which. He told us that that area had been hit pretty hard by the massive die-off that occurred back in 2022. And the herd just never recovered. But hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. I really enjoyed being up in the mountains with my dad and my brother. It was really good quality time for us, and let's not forget that the whole purpose of us being up there in the first place was in remembrance of my grandfather, who used to be, who used to go hunting in that area with my dad anytime they would ever get the chance to go. But unfortunately, Grandpa ended up passing earlier this year, and I guess what better way to remember him than by going hunting with his rifles in the same spot where him and Dad used to go. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bam!